Alright, folks, welcome back. We are through the month of April, and a dismal month of April as it stands. 6-23, 1-9. Our last 10 games, already 12 and a half out of the division. What they say, you can't win a division in April, but you sure can lose one. And even though I don't think this team was built to sustain the teams we have to go up against in our own division, it's definitely a disappointing start. Speaking of disappointing starts, the Diamondbacks, Padres, and Giants all under 500 at the moment. Obviously, the Dodgers are the Dodgers, and they're doing Dodger things. But really, everybody else is struggling. Not quite at the same length as we are, but they're struggling as well. Heading into our first game that we're going to cover through April, it is the defending champs coming to Coors. Yes, the Texas Rangers taking on the Rockies. They ended up being 10-28 coming into this game. 24-16 are the Rangers. DeGrom, Nolan Jones, pictured there, are two star players, I guess you would say, for both of these two squads, especially Jones in our sense. And Dakota Hudson, 7 games, 2-1 record, 2.40 ERA, whips in a solid place, and he's been our ace so far. He got Travis Janikowski to lead off the game as in a 3-2 count. This one rolled over to Chris Bryant at first base. First batter retired pretty easily. Here's the lineup for the Texas Rangers. It flashes on our screen here. Corey Seager, one of the best bats right now, the front runner for MVP if it ended today. Ezekiel Duran doing very well as well, and Marcus Semien batting .340. Seager check swing, yes he did, and Dakota Hudson 1-2-3 innings. Start things off. He's been looking fantastic. Here's DeGrom, not quite the DeGrom we're used to. ERA hovering around 4. He does get Charlie Blackmon to pop up here. But DeGrom is aging. The Rangers might have been a flash of a pan, especially pitching. Lost Jordan Montgomery. You have Max Scherzer, who's older, started the year on the IL. You have DeGrom, who, is he going to be DeGrom? As he shows it there, he probably will be. 1-2-3 goes to DeGrom and blows that one right past Nolan Jones. Look at the second angle of it. It's just greatness, and it's insane to think that I have to game plan to try to beat guys like this. Chris Bryant takes his digs after Hudson got his second inning done and over with fairly quickly. Another strikeout for DeGrom. Ryan McMahon batting around 260. He's leading the team in home runs, or was at least at one point, but stares at strike 3 right at the knees. A filthy, filthy pitch. When your fastball can be that filthy, you're an insane pitcher. And there was no question DeGrom qualifies into that insane pitcher category. Elias Diaz, again, our lone all-star representative last year. He is starting off pretty hot and gets a hold of this one. Circle change left up, and Coors! First run of the day comes via the long ball. You've heard that before in this field, and 106 off the bat. Kind of scraped over the wall, and Diaz, he's going to make you pay. He's the guy who's going to hit for a high average. Won't hit for too much power, but see right there, you can't leave that off-speed pitch at that part of the plate. He's going to turn on it. He did. Sent that one into left field, and Diaz gets on the board first. Brendan Rodgers 3-2 count. That slider was filthy. Rodgers will sit down as we end the second inning with one hit on the board, and it's the big fly thanks to Elias Diaz. 0-2 count to Jared Walsh, the former Angels. Bryant gets down and dirty, able to stop that ball from getting into the outfield. Flicks over to Hudson for the outs. Hudson cruising right along here. Jonah Heim is going to get a piece of this, and that'll be the first runner of the day for Texas. Tolia, who's been playing left field, we have benched. Bouchard just did not get out of the gate the way we wanted, and I'd rather watch Tolia struggle or let Tolia get at bats than Bouchard, who's not really in our plans going forward. Hudson trying to get into our plans going forward. A slider that matches DeGrom's to end his third inning. As we go ahead, that's a bunt by Brenton Doyle after we got Tolia, who drew a walk, and Doyle's going to be safe. so fast. And again, he's a guy whose bat does not matter. His glove is so important. His speed is so important to us. As his bat never turns around, it's going to be A-OK. 2 on, table set for Charlie Blackmon. 0 for 1 with that pop-up we saw earlier. First pitch, slider, a lot of movement, but sent into left center field. Perfect opposite field gap double, and that is why Charlie Blackmon is going to be one of the best pure hitters the Colorado Rockies have ever seen. Had power in his younger days, consistently had the average, and look at this. Everyone's off and running. You have that speed by Tolia, who's an athletic for his size and build. A bunch of speed from Doyle. They're scoring easily. Tovar with a runner on second. He's going to be late on that fastball high, and Ezequiel Tovar, a guy who have in our future, 5th strikeout for DeGrom. Fast forward, Chris Bryant now working with Chuck on second base, and he's going to pull this one down the line. Fair ball, says the third base umpire. Bryant's going to stay at first as Blackmon comes around to score, and it's 4-0 as the Rockies are getting to probably the best pitcher of the last 10 years. Him, Verlander, Kershaw, that's the conversation. And either way you slice it, you pick someone very, very good. Corey Seager on the ground. Tovar can't get to it. Perfectly splits the new shift that MLB has introduced last year, carrying over from here in years to come. Chopper in front of the plate. Diaz, athletic flip of the hips to take down Josh Young, one of the top rookies of last season. Semien goes flailing at it. And another guy who struck out that is in that MVP race. So Hudson has claimed Seager. Seager got the best of him the second time around, but gets Semien there with a slider well off the plate. Moving on, Brenton Doyle as we're now bottom 4. Still 4-0, but not for long. 100 out of the hand, 96 off the bat. And Coors, straight away, center field, Brenton Doyle getting into the action. That was a great pitch. He just jumped on it. 430. Look at this swing. Compact, short swing. It's designed to just get the ball in play, and this one leaves the yard. And Coors effect at its finest, and that will spell the day for DeGrom as Andrew Heaney, the Heen Dog, in now. Blackmon welcomes him to the game. Second pitch that Heaney threw ends up in the stands this way via the automatic round rule double. Second 2-bagger for Charlie, and the second time he went the opposite way into the gap. That's the perfect definition of a hitter. He will be stranded there as we move into the 5th inning, and Coors, I don't know how much the altitude helped that ball. I think it's gone pretty much everywhere else. 420. Hashtag blaze it. Just about 419 if we're going to be political. But just like that, Texas now gets on the board for the first time. The former Angel now helping division rival Texas out. And he needs a big year. Jared Walsh is a guy who just there was inklings. He had some pretty good seasons where he had injuries. So it's like, all right, he had some semblance of a great season. If he puts this together for a full 162, even like a 145, he's going to be something special. And trying to rekindle that magic. Jonah Heim, who got the best of Dakota Hudson before. A little revenge action way ahead of the sinker on the outside part. But Jared Walsh, he has introduced himself to the Colorado fans, and it's the mid-5. Bottom 5 now. Chris Bryant to Seager. Semien back to Nate Lowe. And that's going to be a 6-4-3 double play, just like they teach you in Little League. Elias Diaz, again, 1 for 2. He had that home run earlier. Now against the lefty, he gets that fastball blown by him. See how he adjusted. He adjusted well. This one high, deep, back there, and Coors gone. 7-1 Rockies pouring it on here, and this is a good litmus test. And this one ball not hit particularly well, under 90 miles per hour on the exit velo. Might be one of the quote-unquote weakest home runs we'll see all season across Major League Baseball. Brendan Rodgers in the bottom of the sixth here, right after Diaz went. We'll deposit that one in front of the center fielder, Tavares. Which will bring up Mike Toglia. Toglia, the OPS has been creeping up. He had some days off due to some injuries, just some little injuries here and there. But he has been quite solid, and of late, I'm seeing a lot of his stuff pick back up. And just like that, back out of this game, terrible swing, tweaked the shoulder a little bit. Charlie Blackmon now up, and all this guy does is hit. Runners on the corners now with 2 outs. And threatening to strike yet again are the Rockies. This is going to bring up the top of the lineup. You have Tavar, you have Jones behind if you can get that far. Ezequiel Tavar, 0 for 2 so far today. Haven't seen much game action at Tavar, and there we go. Again, kind of been disappointing for when we've seen him. He's been doing just fine. We've moved him kind of around the lineup. He was started kind of towards the bottom of the lineup, has moved up to the top, and we've been experimenting with him and where his best fit is continuity-wise. Hudson in the top of the 7th, going 6 1/3 so far. It's going to be a single by Ezequiel Duran. And it's trying to get through this one, and that is going to be it. As bringing up Walsh again, they're going to say, Hudson, you did fine. 7-1 he's going to exit this game at, and Tyler Kinley is going to come up at 2.77 ERA. Strikeout percentage has been rock solid, and he's going to get Jared Walsh to ground past the diving Rogers. But coming up, firing and hosing Duran is Brenton Doyle, and this is the perfect Brenton Doyle game. A bunt single to get on, using the legs, the fielding, the arm is everything we want in that spacious outfield. And again, there's no better kind of way that he can showcase what he means to this team as Diaz grounds out there. Nifty play by Nate Lowe over there at first base. But again, this is the exact skill set we need from Brenton Doyle, and I'm so glad that he is showing it off. And Lincoln's showing off. That's a pretty double play, 3-6-1 double play. Don't write that down in scorebook too often. Bard in the game now. Rogers could have got him out of the inning, but it's going to bobble that as we fast forward ahead a little bit. 7-3 now. Colorado just trying to hang on here. This one high and deep. Doyle on his horse, and another example gets all the way to the wall. This ball went 414 feet. Time did not get a run. A couple base hits here, and this game's going to look a little bit closer than it actually was. David Robertson's going to come in and try to keep Texas in this one. And the second pitch of the game, he throws with the crowd behind. Brendan Rodgers into the night sky. See you later, Coors! The fourth home run we've hit. 2 by Diaz, 1 by Doyle, 1 by Rodgers. All 3 guys that we're not expecting to put up huge power numbers this year. And all 3 have gotten a handle on this Texas pitching staff and has been able to put some baseballs in bleachers. This one just caught the cutter out in front. Did exactly what you want to do with it. Pulled it. And we're going to bring in Justin Lawrence just in case as he walks out. Not a close situation, a save situation. But with what we saw the last couple of innings with the pitching staff, especially the bullpen, you just want Lawrence to come in. He hasn't had too great, so this could also be kind of a tune-up for him. He does give up a double. This one in the dirt. Diaz blocks. Heading over to third base is the runner. I believe that's Tavares. He is gunned down. Diaz is able to keep that ball in front. Bad read by Tavares, and Diaz able to get enough on it. Just gets them. Yeah, back to Lawrence. A high ERA. Maybe this is kind of like that jump shooter getting a layup or getting a free throw. Able to just see a 1, 2, 3 inning. And that could be the start of a nice little streak in the back end of our bullpen. The Rockies win. They take down the defending World Series champions. And I couldn't be happier with this performance. Pitching did well. A little scary there, but the offense came through enough times where it wasn't as scary as it could have been. Can't ask for much more. So 8-3 is the end of this game. Let's check out the box score, see if anything stands out. There we go. So Seager just 1 for 4 on the day. DeGrom gets the loss, goes 3 2/3. Heaney threw 3 1/3. And DeGrom 6 earned runs, but Black went 3 for 5. Jones went 2 for 4, just a couple of singles, and Brennan Rodgers a couple big hits. Got 2 doubles from Black, and we talked about the 4 home runs. RBIs all around the place. Dakota Hudson 6 for 4, 4 hits, 5 strikeouts. Everybody else did their job.
All right, we're going to have a quick scouting update with the draft approaching. Not right around the corner, but it's coming up soon. I just wanted to give you guys kind of a first look at some guys we have on our boards for the player draft. This year we picked 3rd, I believe also 37th-ish, so that's going to be our first couple of picks, and we really want to hit on those guys. So we are focusing heavy at the top of our board. At the top of our board right now, Bobby White, an 18-year-old pitcher, is a righty, and I have reservations about drafting high school pitchers. I'd much rather go high school hitter rather than high school pitcher, but if this guy got the goods, he got the goods. And we are not in a position to be giving things up. Now again, being from high school, where we kind of project him to be, it's a wider range of where he can be or where he should be. Right now, he's going to give you innings. He's going to limit hits. He's going to have good strikeout potential. But one thing about him, only has really 3 pitches developed, and those pitches are kind of okay right now with the upside on all 3 of them, or 2 of the 3 being plus pitches. 2-seamer, 12-6 curve and a change, and Bobby White's the first guy we're kind of looking at that number 3 spot. He's ranked 2nd on our board. The general consensus is he's around like a mid-20s pick, so we'll see. Do we jump up for Bobby White? Next guy on our list, we're focusing primarily on pitchers. I think especially developing young pitchers is going to be huge for us here in my tenure here, and I would love to get a bona fide ace of Colorado. But this guy, Sherwood Winchester, a catcher. This is a guy who is from New York, switch hitter, and really where he shines is fielding. And where you're going to maybe, instead of getting one really good pitcher, maybe we can make a couple good pitchers really good because we have this guy behind the dish. His fielding, his arm is projected plus right now, 21 years old. And again, since he's in college, we can kind of have a better look on him. He feels like he might be really good right out of the gate. He might only have a season or 2 in the minor leagues, if we scoop him up at 3 right now. Ranked the number 3 guy on the board, 5th on our board, but I would not be too upset snagging him if the situation brings us to that decision. Next up, another pitcher, this time a lefty and from college, from my home state of Massachusetts, Barton Lopez. Kind of that same potential range that we slot in Winchester. So we think he can be, at worst, a pretty solid starting pitcher, and at best, maybe a number 1, most likely a number 2 for us. And what he's going to do is limit walks. He's a guy who is not going to have a high whip. The strikeout numbers might not be exactly where you want them to be, but he's going to limit runners on base, especially in Coors Field where, 2 bad pitches, it'd be the difference between a 0-0 and a 3-0 ball game. We kind of want to limit as many base runners as we possibly can. His pitch mix is a little bit more expanded. Fastball, slider, change, splitter, curve. So really the perfect arsenal if you're going to build a pitcher. And all, those pitches are very, very good, especially his splitter and his fastball. Those 2 are his best pitches. And if he's there, we have him ranked 8th. The MLB, from all of our scouts, talking to other scouts, kind of agree he's right there, kind of around the back end of the top 10. J.J. Rose, another pitcher. This guy's more of a strikeout guy, another 4-year college player. He's from Georgia. His upside's a little bit higher than everybody else. However, we think it's going to take him a little bit longer to get there, and that's basically because, those strikeout pitchers are like that. They could breeze through the minor leagues, or it could take them some time to get there. We're not quite sure with him. He could be pretty ready to go automatically, or it could take a couple of years. We're still scouting him, so we're still going to kind of make that decision. Right now, we have him 12th on our board. We're a little bit higher than most are just because of that potential differential, but if we feel that it's worth it, he could be there for us in the first round, especially that's kind of projected where he's kind of projected to go kind of where we're picking in the second round. So if we can scoop up J.J. Rose in round 2, especially if some of those other names are on the board with us for 3, I think we'll prioritize them. We could have a really, really good 1-2 at the top of this draft. He throws a 4-seamer, curveball, slider, circle change from what my scouts have said, and really only one of those pitches is a plus, with that curveball being very good. So we'll have to see from J.J. Rose, see where he falls. Ken LaBruce, another guy we're looking at, another starting pitcher. We haven't got a chance to see him fully, so right now we kind of put him in that J.J. Rose territory. We're a little bit farther along than Rose, but another good guy in preventing. He's going to have a low whip. Doesn't give up a lot of hits. Doesn't give up a lot of walks, especially the walks. And his home run control is at best. 6 foot, 218, so a smaller guy. But he's going to be able to throw that fastball in the low to mid-90s. Has a sinker, changeup, 2-seamer. So not a lot of breaking pitches. Does have a curveball that's graded out pretty well. And really that changeup, 2-seamer, and curveball is where he's going to live in. That sinker and that 4-seamer aren't predominantly his stronger pitches. So we'll see with him. He's a guy that we have ranked 25th. Another guy who maybe in the second round he falls to us. So that's what we have here on Ken LaBruce. Kurt McCain, he is the consensus #1 pick, and we don't think so. I think he's a very high floor, low ceiling guy. And maybe if we have 2 guys to go off our board, especially those first couple guys we're talking about in Winchester, who's someone we have our eyes on really a lot. He's a guy who maybe makes sense for us. He's a guy who's a second baseman, prioritizes power a little bit more over contact. The fielding is going to be very good, as you want your second baseman to be, but second base, not exactly a primary position that you're going to be spending high money on in the draft, especially since our middle infield's kind of locked up for the moment. He's a guy that obviously at the top of everyone's board coming into the year, we wanted to do our due diligence on if he can fall to us at 3, but even if he's there, I don't think we're going to go with him. I just think organizationally we're kind of set at the moment, and also philosophy-wise, he's a guy that we don't rank as highly as everybody else. That's going to do it just for our little scouting report here. We'll see more of these reports as the season go on. Again, the draft is underway, and we're going to bring you right into our draft room, so stay tuned for that. And all right, I'll check in soon. Cody out.
So after the game, we got the news on Tolia. It's just kind of a bruise. He will be fine as we head kind of a week later. We take on the San Francisco Giants in Oracle Park, one of my favorite ballparks. And we got Jordan Hicks, the flame thrower, going up against Charlie Blackmon and company. Nothing happened in that first inning. Peter Lambert's the guy that we are going to be sending on the mound at 7.27 ERA. The guy who is in jeopardy of losing his spot. And he knew it, and he came out and had himself a gem. Let's watch it. Tovar, another athletic play over there at shortstop. It's so nice having a glove like that. Estrada, Slater, Wilmer Flores, Soler, Conforto, J.D. Davis, Yastrzemski, and the rest going up to the plate for the Giants. Lambert blew a fastball right by Austin Slater, his first strikeout. He's going to end up with quite a few strikeouts. It's a very great Peter Lambert performance. This is why this game was chosen to be highlighted for our May segment of our series here on Netflix. He gets Flores to chase after the slider outside, and 2 strikeouts to begin the first frame from Pete Lambert in a real bounce back start. Chris Bryant, top 2 now, he's going to draw a walk, first base runner, and trying to get Jordan Hicks' pitch count up. His velocity can be an issue. And if you can have him kind of wear down, that's how you get to guys like this. Jumping first pitch is big, man. This one's blasted. But with San Francisco playing the way it does, That's going to stay up there, and it's not going to drop down. And Chris Bryant, who played a couple months for these Giants, should know that more than anybody. He gets caught up thinking that ball's going to drop, and that's going to be an unfortunate double play. And a guy like Chris Bryant, who's played in this ballpark multiple times, called this ballpark home for, again, those 8 weeks or so a couple years ago during the trade deadline. He should know better. Rogers goes the other way. Estrada is going to go to second base, where he had first base on lock. And a good thing for them, it's Diaz at second, so he's not going to advance. An error allows Rogers to run, not just on the throw, but the throw decision probably would have warranted an error. Michael Toglia has a prime spot to do something good as a sinker. A guy who throws 100 plus, you're ahead of his pitches, so that's how dangerous Hicks is, that you are planning so far in advance to swing that it does not really matter where that pitch is going to end up. You're going to look silly. Lambert, circle change, dot. Third strikeout for him. And just look at this. I'm going to show it. And Conforto froze. Davis swings and misses. And that's going to be another multi-strikeout inning for Pete Lambert. Again, he's feeling it. Ezequiel Tovar finally going to get something on the board. This one drops down right on the line. We're going to see as he hustles into second base, and we'll get there ahead of the throw, just how close this was from being fouled. 8th double for Tovar. And this one just stays fair. Just picks up that 2-bagger. Look at this. Probably 6 inches from being a double and a strike. And luckily for us, it shows the double route. Nolan Jones 0 for 1 so far today, and that won't last too much longer. Sinker outside, he takes it. Seen the velocity now, can try to time it up. And oh boy, does he! Slider inside, he takes for a ride. Watch out for all those canoers out there, those kayakers out there in the bay. McCovey Cove just added another baseball victim. Nolan Jones, his 7th on the year, absolutely demolishes it. Look at that pretty swing. Just loses that baseball in that blue sky, and to confirm it, that is a splash hit. Ryan McMahon trying to follow up that performance a couple batters later. And this one stung out of the zone. He got up and got it, but this will die right at the track. 2 runs for the Rockies, whose offense seems to be striking when we're watching. And look at this. This is probably the prettiest shot. The zoom out, you lose that baseball immediately. Stremski going to lead off the bottom of the 3rd inning. Lambert doing a good job as Bryant dives, and he just can't get it. Nolan Jones scoops it up and tosses it back into the infield. Again, Lambert has been so efficient today, and he's going to end up with a very, very, very good day as Matt Chapman takes strike number 1. Chapman, the free agent signing late into free agency, as he's going to take strike number 2. Fastball, then slider, next pitch slider, more outside, and he's even more fooled. Just absolutely needed a life vest on that one. Fastball, slider, slurve that time, kind of the sweeper, and just gave him a different look and picked up the strikeout. Top 5 as we move along here, and Jones isn't going to follow up his home run with anything pretty as he grounds out to first base for the double play. And will stop any Rockies threat there. Just 1 hit allowed by Lambert, 6 so far for Hicks. Lambert outside, I don't think that was a strike, but oh boy was it a nasty pitch. Umpire calls it strike. We're going to say it's a strike. Maybe just clip the outside and actually show us as that's a strike till the very end. I don't think it clips, but it doesn't matter what I think. That ball up high does not matter. Ninth strikeout, and we're through 5 and 2/3. Lambert absolutely feeling it. Next batter, same spot. 10 strikeouts for the kid. And again, like I said, Lambert kind of struggled this year and hasn't been what we wanted from that 4th, 5th starter spot. He coming into the day was at jeopardy of losing it. Slater, he goes to left field, totally arranging around, cuts it off, and prevents extra bases. Lambert, with this performance, definitely gave him 1 or 2 more starts before I make any drastic changes. He had 2 hits, 10 strikeouts, and 75 pitches for a pretty dangerous lineup. I don't think this lineup is going to be winning awards, but you have a couple of guys here that can do a lot of damage, and overall, it makes it for a tough lineup to navigate. And Lambert is cutting through them like butter. Another pitch, and this time it's going to get by Bryant at first base. The first runner for the Giants will come across to score runners on the corners, and this might spell it for Lambert as they try to let him get out of the jam. He's been so comfortable and confident so far today. They try to let him get out of it, but he just couldn't quite. And now with a runner on third base and the lead just being 1 run, they're going to make the move to the bullpen. Bud Black's going to come out and switch out Lambert. Going to get a nice hand from our Rockies bench and all of us here back in Colorado, as he did a fantastic job. Coming in to replace him will be Jalen Beeks, the left-hander. 2.16 ERA. He's been absolutely incredible. Just gets Yastrzemski. Almost got him to commit there. This time makes him look silly with a circle change, as he knew he had him, and able to, him and Diaz work together to find a nice spot for that strikeout pitch. So Beeks got him out of the jam. Nolan Jones trying to add on. Other than Jones's home run, there hasn't been anything really going on. And another error by Estrada over there at second base. Usually a sure-handed fielder. That's the second throw, which has gotten away from him. I wonder if he's not feeling too well or what the case is there. But the Rogers, the decision to do what he did with Rogers early in the beginning in that one. Chris Bryant trying to make them pay for the double play, as Ryan Walker, the pitcher now in, is going with the pitch was Nolan Jones, and that takes him out of the double play possibility. That is definitely a double play if Jones isn't going, but Jones enough speed to justify letting him try to take second base, and great hit and run through on there by Coach Black. McMahon, first pitch swinging, jams him. Coming in is the left fielder, putting it away, and that'll do it for the 8th. So an error got eventually up to second base was Jones, but nothing doing for the Colorado Rockies in this one. Coming in, John Curtis, 3.28 ERA. We've seen him give up some runs before. 2-1 record, has 3 holds. We'll see what he can do against this Giants lineup, try to prevent anything from going wrong, and just like that, scalded into Triple's alley. Cutting it off is Doyle, which is a great thing because Chapman, for a third baseman, a bunch of speed. So he could easily have came around to score. They're going to get Patrick Bailey, not known for his bat, and that's already the second time we've seen him strike out. Estrada can put this ball in play, has good bat-to-ball skills, and just over the reaching glove of Rogers. Doyle, with his defensive prowess, holds everybody respectively at their own bases, and runners on the corner, a ground ball is needed. Tyler Fitzgerald's going to come in, a bunch of speed from him. And this one line, Tolia coming in as the perfect kind of ball to throw home to, but first baseman was not asked to really throw all too well, and that's what happens when he's in left field. quick pitch to Flores gets him jammed out to left field. Tolia makes the play, but just like that, the lead turns into the tie as we are knotted up at 2 heading into the 9th. Bottom 9 as the Rockies fail to do anything. Soler goes down to the Jake Bird breaking pitch. 1 gone. Playing for extra innings here. Conforto goes down. Strikeout number 2 for Jake Bird, as that was a filthy pitch. J.D. Davis 0-2 count. This time ropes past the diving McMahon. Tolia out to go retrieve it in left field. Misplays it. I don't think he gets the runner at second, but it's definitely a closer play if he's able to field that before it hits the wall. And just like that, maybe even hold him to a single. And this is why that's going to be important. As right by the diving McMahon, incredible fielder Marco Luciano is going to add some more speed, not the quickest of guys. Yastrzemski takes strike 1. Trying to see if there's a matchup we can play. Coach Black decides he's going to stick with Bird here. That pitch is low. High leverage spot. Trying to keep that runner stranded on second base. Keep the Rockies' hopes of winning this one alive. Not many games to go out and win this year, so you got to make them count. Rogers won't give a dive. Jones, one of the best arms in the game, has Luciano at the plate, but the ball scoops away. No! Luciano slid through the tag. Diaz couldn't hold on, and the Rockies are going to lose in a heartbreaking fashion. We're going to get a second look at it, but that throw had him dead in the water. Yastrzemski just gets the ball out of the infield. Jones scoops up, fires. Look at this. Diaz had it a good 2 steps and just couldn't hold on to the tag. Ugh. And that's a hard one to lose. The offense goes cold for the first time, really, that we've seen all year. Not the first time it's happened all year, but they had that Jones home run, and that was about it. Some good, timely pitching and defense by the Giants. And, again, timely hitting. They didn't get the most electric hits, but they got the hits when they mattered, and we didn't. And that's all I have to say. We had 8 hits in this one. They were sprinkled around the lineup. Only McMahon and Doyle went hitless. 7 strikeouts. Tovar and Jones had those back-to-back extra base hits, and that was it. Lambert was filthy, and it sucks he couldn't pick up the win. And, again, the bottom of this lineup, J.D. Davis and Mike Yastrzemski doing damage. From the 6 and 8 spots, respectively, is really the difference here. And the bullpen came out and was nails. So we are heading to the end. Jamison Hanna, we're showing this injury because he's a guy that potentially could have come up on the bench, especially with all our outfielders struggling the way they are. Now we're going to head into June with a pretty abysmal record. Now we're just kind of going through the roster, checking out how people are doing, and you can pause and see any numbers if you so see fit. You got that space bar or that on your remote. If you want to pause it, go right ahead. But I mean, this roster, we're going to be looking pretty soon at the draft. Actually, there was a draft kind of segment earlier, most likely in this episode, or at least somewhere in this episode, that you saw, kind of going over our first initial thoughts of the big board, especially for that first round pick that we have. And that's what we're really focusing on, that top of the draft and getting that pick right. But we're kind of just going through the pitching staff, seeing who's doing well, who's going to get called up, who's going to get sent down, if there's any a chance that happens. But yeah, so we're just kind of going through the roster. Also, trade deadline's coming up pretty soon, so we're going to have a nice little outline of who we were looking for, who we're trying to get, and who's someone we're going to have our eye on. And one of the next episodes coming up, probably next episode, that we're going to recap June. That's how this series is going to kind of be laid out. We will be taking a look at 3, maybe 4 trade candidates, maybe for the future, maybe for the right now, maybe some flyers on guys that aren't getting the right opportunities other places that make sense. Obviously, teams aren't going to trade with us because I asked them to nicely. We're going to have to give up some pieces. We're going to look at kind of guys who we might want to ship out at a time. So that'll be coming up. Again, take a look at the roster moves. If anything intrigues you, make sure to pause it and see what's going on. But other than that, we're going to check on some standings pretty soon and some other numbers. So here are the standings on the league. We've kind of already talked about the NL West and kind of how it's been. Cardinals and Cubs and the Reds are being competitive with the Brewers and Pirates kind of at the bottom there. The Phillies and Braves are really going to be a fun race to watch out for. The Mets having a disappointing season. The Nationals a little bit ahead of schedule. Here's the wild card as of today. It's the Braves, Cubs, and Diamondbacks with the Reds right behind them, but everybody else below that is under 500. So it'll be an interesting trade deadline to see which teams think that they can go in and which teams think they're going to go out. Rays, Orioles, Yankees at the top of that AL East. Blue Jays behind the Red Sox is surprising, especially with the talent the Blue Jays have. Royals out ahead in the AL Central, which is a fun surprise. Everybody else below 500, not as much of a surprise. Astros, Rangers, Mariners, again, it's going to be a tight race. So that one came all the way down to the wire last season. And Orioles, Yankees, Rangers, Mariners, and then Red Sox pretending to be competitive are right there as well. So that will do it here for this episode. I hope you enjoyed here on Netflix. Thank you for watching our May recap. June's up next, and we're going to be playing some fun baseball. We're going to have some moves soon. We'll see you then.